All right, welcome to week 10 of Purple Raider Sitdown, last episode of the regular season. I'm William Moyer. Here with me is defensive back Tony Cook. So thanks for coming on, Tony.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated, man.
Yeah, of course. And so you've had a pretty interesting path to becoming a Purple Raider. Not the usual thing you see for most guys. You went from, you have your own personal training business, playing semi-pro in Detroit, playing prep in Birmingham, Alabama. You were a state runner-up in baseball. Are all those correct?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So what would you say are probably some of the biggest lessons that you've learned so far in your journey with doing all these different things?
Well, I first learned that change is gonna happen no matter what. I was kind of scared to go from different places, but eventually you figure out it is what it is. Life goes on. You got to just continue to move forward with whatever goal you have. You got to chase that dream. If you got one life to live, why not try to do exactly what you want to do?
Yeah, I love that. So last week, you guys had a huge win versus Marietta. That was an intense game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you loved getting that win.
That was crazy.
Very close game. The defense played exceptional, I would say, in that second half. 0 points allowed in the fourth quarter. Couple of big stops there. How did it feel to get that win and clinch the OAC title?
That game was literally the craziest game of my life. I've been all over the place, like you said earlier, but that game was the most memorable, strictly because, I don't know, we faced adversity the whole game. Literally, I had a couple bad calls against me.
Oh,
they
yeah.
called pass interference.
For sure, yeah.
We all know the real. We know that it wasn't pass interference, on my part at least. But we still made plays whenever we had to. The reference, ball don't lie. That's a great reference because at the end of the day, it did not lie. We ended up winning. But I just saw how the team just used each other. We feed off each other when we need each other the most, especially at practice. It's usually offense versus defense, but in the game we knew we needed the offense just as much as they needed us. And it was just good to see everybody come together and make the plays needed when it needed to be made.
Yeah, and speaking of adversity, obviously, unfortunately, Boudry went down at the end of that first half after that injury, and just DeShields came in and just got the job done. How did that feel to kind of rally around Boudry's injury and DeShields getting it done? How did that make you feel?
So Boudry is our guy.
Yeah.
That's one of our guys, man. He's a leader. He prays for us before the games. We all pray together. He's a great guy. And then to see him go down, we gotta stack up. We got our backs against the wall, but we know we got Unc. I call him Unc. I'm one of the older guys on the team. I call him Unc, but they call him Gramps. So, because he's old, we both old. But we knew he had it. I knew he had it because he's been preparing for this moment the whole time. He's always one of the first people on the field. I see him always doing the right things in the weight room, working hard. I know he has experience, so I was confident that he could get it done. We practice against him all the time, so we know what he's capable of. But it was fun to see him actually get his opportunity and make the most of it.
Yeah, some great throws, especially
Yes,
that last one to Tyrell, just insane.
Just
I've watched
give
it
him a
over.
chance.
I've watched it over so many times.
ESPN, man, we call him Smoothie Entertainment.
So this week we've got last regular season game, Muskingum, and then we'll be heading into the playoffs. Obviously, you got to win this week. It's 1 week at a time. But how are you guys kind of preparing for the rest of the season and going into the playoffs?
So we really try to focus one game at a time. I know that this week is important because we did what we wanted to do last week. We clinched the OAC, but this week is still important. We want to have an undefeated regular season. That's always the goal. That's the standard at Mount Union. So after this game, we just got to make sure we take every game serious. There should be no one in the playoffs that isn't capable of beating us, but the only team that can really beat us is ourselves. When we don't do what we're supposed to do, we just hurt ourselves, and I think we just got to stay focused this next week of practice and going into the playoffs to keep the ball rolling, keep the momentum going where it should go.
Yeah, I love that mentality. So for you on the season, you've racked up 39 total tackles, 7 pass deflections, and you got 2 picks and a forced fumble as well. What would you say it is about kind of your style of play and what you've learned that helps you make such an impact on this defense?
So I really just try to do my job. All of us have our one job on defense. We say 11 as one all the time, but we all have to focus on our individual role. My goal is to stop them from scoring, and it just so happened that God found a way to put me in position to make a play. I wasn't necessarily thinking before the play like, oh, this is that play, but it just came to me, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to take advantage of those opportunities. Yeah, that's all I can say. I'm just blessed to be here.
Yeah.
I'm blessed to be able to do what I do.
Being ready every play.
Yes, sir.
So, as an entire defense, the defense so far on the season, allowing just 13 points a game, what would you say it is about like this defense that is so effective and is so just good at stopping the other teams?
We got a bunch of dogs.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of dogs that don't want to give up touchdowns. Like, we don't want to see the other team score. We got a great coach. Coach Ivey calls a very good defensive plan every week. Even when things aren't going right, he always has another way to stop it. And then just the want and the will to want to win. If we know that we can keep the other team's offense from scoring more than we score, then we win. So if we keep them from scoring a touchdown, all we need is one touchdown. You just got to win by a touchdown or 1 point, to be honest. So we just want to keep them off the board as much as possible to give ourselves the best chance of winning.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed last weekend was it was early in the game, I think, Bowden got a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's unfortunate. I mean, those things happen. But what I really liked was that you and Marcus Jackson kind of got it. Like, you were trying to be accountable and try to make him know, like, we got to win this game. Like, you got to take this serious.
Yeah.
So I really liked seeing that accountability from kind of the experienced guys on the team.
Right. I'm never really that fired up. But, like, I love Brandon. He just made a mistake. We all make mistakes here and there. But it was just a situation of the game. They're in the red zone. It probably was like second, maybe third down, and then we get a penalty just to move them up, and they get another 4 downs. It was just a frustrating moment in the game, but a learning moment for the rest of us. So we continue to try to just keep our heads on straight. The refs don't like Mount Union. A lot of people don't like Mount Union, so we always got our backs against the wall. We just gotta keep playing. Like I said, ball don't lie.
Yeah, and
ball don't lie.
Kind of speaking of the whole defense, how would you say, how tight are you guys as a group? Maybe speak on the whole defense or just like your position group, the defensive backs. Like, how tight are you guys?
I think we have a good core guys. We lost a lot of people last year, but a lot of us that didn't play as much last year, we've practiced together for a couple years now. We, in spring ball, we get closer, but this season alone, I think I've gotten closer with a lot of the guys. This is only my second year here, but after you just get reps and we go through adversity together, it just brings you closer as a team. But for the most part, I love my teammates. The defensive backs alone, we have to work together. So we talk every play. The safeties have to give the corners the check. So without that, we wouldn't know what to do. If we don't understand, we talk to each other, make sure we're on the same page. And I just see all of us getting closer and closer as the D-line makes plays. We congratulate them. We make plays. They congratulate us, and it's just fun to see us all work together to achieve the same goal.
Yeah, and speaking of kind of all of you working together to achieve the same goal, obviously you got to have some motivation to want to win. What would you say it is that kind of motivates you personally every day to kind of get better, just like be the best you can be? So
my motivation, I honestly can say, is Jesus Christ. Like, I would not be here without him. Once I discovered Jesus, it led me back onto the football field. And what you said to start off the interview, the path that I've been through, once I discovered Jesus, my whole life changed, and all of the stuff that you named happened after that. So I try to do everything for his name. I try to glorify him when I can. I know that without him, I am nothing. So I try to just give all my faith to Jesus and let my game play and speak for him, speak for himself, and just keep rocking out. Yeah, I love that. So now going kind of back to Mount Union, how would you say the legacy of the program, obviously the 13 national titles, you're kind of talking about the standard. How would you say that the legacy of the program kind of affects how you go about the game and how you approach every practice? That's a good question. So when I got here, I knew that the standard was to win a national championship. Like I said, we just won the OAC championship, and we don't even celebrate it. We just, it's like something that should happen. It's unfortunate because I feel like the fans and all of them think that it's just that easy for us to do that, but we have to go to work every week, and it is complicated. But it's fun. I like the challenge. It makes me have to live up to the standard. Like, you have to play better. You can't. You don't want to be the corner that's just getting blurred every game, giving up all the touchdowns, making games close. No, you gotta live up to the standard. I know Josh Jones. He was a dog last year, and I know he was really good. So I want to try to be just as good, try to follow in his footsteps, lead by example. I know a guy named Derek Bradley. He's pretty good, too, here. Those are the only two corners that I know. I know my boy Deuce. He got hurt this year. I try to play for him, too, because he was a dog, but he got injured, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the standard is the standard. And like I said, on defense, we try to keep him out the end zone. So a shutout, a goose egg every game is our goal. But I like how we just work hard. A lot of people on the team went to the Stag in 2022, so they know what it's like to get there. So it's cool to have those guys on the team still. But we all know what the goal is. That's why we came here, 13 national championships, trying to get that 14th one. But I think we got a good chance this year. We just got to stay focused and all do our 111, do our job on the field.
Yeah, of course. So this is only your second year as a Purple Raider, but what would you say is so far your favorite moment on the team, either on the field or off the field? Maybe even last week's game.
Last week's game by far.
Yeah.
So, okay, one other moment though. Last week's game was crazy. Like that was crazy. That was fun. It was championship environment.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there, a lot of cameras.
It was a great crowd.
The great crowd. The energy was crazy. Like, you don't really notice the crowd until like it's a certain moment. And it was a moment on third down. I just hear the crowd. I hear our sideline. They cheering. Yeah. Then they try to throw it my way. Incomplete. I just hear the crowd even more. I'm turned up. I'm like, dang, this is crazy. Yeah. That game was just crazy overall, just because we had to fight through so much, and we ended up doing it. But another crazy moment was when we played JCU last year.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That game was crazy. Like, it was like the same type of story. Yeah. We go into their field. I think it was for the OAC championship. Like, we had to beat them to win it.
Yeah, because that was later in the season.
Yeah, and we beat them. And now it's just a fun day too. I didn't play as much, but I was still hyped up, ready to go.
Of course.
That game was exciting. But yeah, those two games, probably most memorable times. Other than that, just the grind of the off season, going to the weight room. We work out on Saturdays, do like position work, then spring ball. Just the whole thing, the whole grind is just fun. Like fall camp, gotta love it. No school, just football.
Yeah.
But then now we in the dog days of school, so this is still part of the grind though. Like we gotta go to practice today. It's cold outside, but that's the fun part. You just gotta enjoy it while we got it, because one day we gonna look up and be like, dang, season's over already. Yeah. So we just gotta go week by week and try to keep stacking the chips up.
Yeah, I've been watching Mount Union football my entire life. My grandparents have been taking me to games, and that game against Marietta was one of my favorite games I've ever seen. Like,
it's nuts.
It was just the adversity, Boudry getting injured, and then TJ coming in and just getting it done. I mean, just an exceptional game.
It's crazy.
So last question. Ask this to everybody. So for you, do you have any type of pregame, like superstition, specific routine, like specific meal you like to eat or playlist, like anything you do before every game?
Before every game, I try not to eat too much.
Yeah.
I try to just eat a little light something. I'm not trying to be out there full, having to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, of course not.
I know pregame, so I'm a trainer, right?
Yeah.
I do a workout. It's not even a specific workout. I do like the main things. I call it everyday drills. So like, I don't do them every day when I hit the field in the summer. But before the game, it's like the little stuff that I feel like is mandatory to do. So I put my headphones in. I turn on my little gospel radio. Not gospel radio, but I got my little playlist. I click on the songs I want to hear. I'm not trying to get cussed out by nobody before the game. I'm trying to feel good, be in a good mood. Having fun. That's the main thing. It's fun to me when I start doing my little pregame routine, because I do that all the time, and I start to think about just all the days that I've done the same routine, and I just try to do not the same exact thing, but whatever I feel is needed that day. just to get loose, break a sweat out there before
Yeah.
I got to really break a real sweat. So it's fun to do that. What else do I like to do? I don't do too much. I try to just stay level-headed. Then once I start to put the drip on, that's when it gets real. I'm like, oh, shoot, we got a game today.
Yeah.
And then I get excited. We talk in the locker room. Then once we go out there, the energy just starts going. My boy JP always got me excited. He be turned up. Brandon Yansons.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Zach Liebler, my freshman, he a dog.
He had a great game this
Yeah,
weekend.
he did. They all just keep me excited, ready to play. I'm grateful for everybody on the team, especially the defense, because I can't imagine where I would be if I didn't come to Mount Union or how football would be right now for me. Just grateful for everything. Trying to stay locked in, man. A couple more games. Hopefully I can do that little pregame ritual a couple more times. And yeah, that's all I got for that one.
All right. Well, I think that's it for Preparator Sit Down. Tony, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, sir.
A great time.
Oh, yeah.
So, Muskingum this weekend, 1:30 p.m. Tune into 91.1.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Yep.